Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So, the very secret Hinman documents and speech finally has been released. And it concludes, at least Bill Hinman concluded, that Ethereum is not a security. But how does that help XRP? How does that help Ripple? Does it? Let's talk about this. And let's talk about a whole lot more. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Bitcoin is holding above 26,000. The entire market cap is up slightly, but surprisingly, XRP is not. It was actually pumping for a little bit after the documents came out, but then it kind of slid down. So it makes you wonder, what was said in those Hinman documents or speech? And did it help XRP at all? In fact, BNB is pumping for some reason. BNB, out of the blue, is pumping. It really has nothing to do with anything. But here's the thing, okay? So everyone's talking about it, right? And it's pretty obvious. We already knew that Bill Hinman, who was part of the SEC before, he was like corporate finance or corporate something. He wasn't a top dog at the time Clayton was, okay? And he did this speech that no one wanted him to do. And he was talking about cryptocurrencies, including Ethereum. Now, there's some controversy because there are people within SEC that told Bill Hinman not to give this speech. They read it and they did not like it. But he said it anyways, okay? What did he say exactly? I mean, he said a lot. He said a lot, okay? So I'm not going to go over everything. But one of the things that he said was that Ethereum, okay, after, well, actually, you know what? I have this. I have it right here. Let me just play this little section for you guys. Let me get my audio ready here. Now, there's something else I want to say about this overall, but let me just play this. This is one of the important things that Bill Hinman said.
We're putting aside the fundraising that accompanied the creation of Ether. Based on my understanding of the present state of Ether, the Ethereum network, its decentralized structure, we believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
Okay. So that little blurb right there said a whole lot, okay? First of all, he's like discounting the sale that they had. He's talking about the ICO. Basically, what Bill is saying is this. Just because a project had an ICO does not automatically make them a security. Okay, that's one. Number two, something he said during his speech is about decentralization. He believes that once a project is completely decentralized, well, then it's also not a security. Right? And he says more along those lines like, is it decentralized? Does the founders have any incentive to keep pumping it, basically? If the answer is no, okay, then it's part of decentralization. Also, if, in this case, like Ether is being used for transactions, right? Part of this decentralized network, then it's not a security. So he said those things as well. So, but also what he just said here, current offers and sales of Ether are not security transactions, which means just because there are sales, for example, Ether is being sold on exchanges, does not make it a security either. So just this little section blurb right here actually said a whole lot. Okay, so that's basically the gist of what Bill Hinman said. And also part of this is that basically he also concluded that it's not a security, but they want to talk to Vitalik about it. Okay, so here's actually an email. Here's an email from Bill Hinman to all these bigwigs at the SEC. You see their emails redacted. Probably a lot of these people are still at the SEC. Attached, please find a draft of the speech I had mentioned, which suggests that we do not need to see a need to regulate Ether as it is currently offered as a security. That language is in brackets and would be used if we are all in agreement. We also have a call with Buterin later this week to confirm our understanding of how the Ethereum Foundation operates. Okay, so this is like his email basically saying, My speech is going to conclude that Ethereum is not a security, okay? But we're going to call Vitalik just to see how the foundation works, right? And that's it. The end. The end. So, I mean, that's what it said. And there's other things that was said, but basically, that's the gist of it. Ethereum is not a security. Even though there are people within the SEC that disagreed with Bill on this assessment and gave him a lot of feedback, like what you're going to say is going to cause confusion. It's going to make it harder for SEC to declare securities in the future, stuff like that. It was still supported. In fact, I said, he's not the main guy, right? Jay Clayton is the main guy, or was the main guy at the time. He had Gary Gensler's job, okay? And this is what he said.
The speech.
Bill Hinman recently outlined the approach we take to evaluate whether a digital asset is a security, and I encourage you to take a look at Bill's speech, which is available on our website.
So, even Jay Clayton, the top dog, at the time said, okay, what Bill said is true, and I encourage everyone to look at it, right? So even Jay Clayton, the top guy at the SEC at the time, said, okay. So that's ultimately what was said. And then, I don't know how much later, Jay Clayton, on his last day, declared XRP a security. On his way out the door. After going through all this is what happened. So here's the funny thing. Right? I thought that XRP Army and SEC, and Ripple will use this as its defense, right? And use it in a positive light. But Stewart here, he's the top chief legal officer for Ripple, right? Rather than use this in a positive way, he dissected this. He created this video that's just painting very negatively towards Ethereum and the SEC. I get it. I get you have to be very negative towards SEC, but he was basically being very negative towards everyone, towards Bill Hinman, towards Ethereum, towards the SEC, right? So that caught me a little bit off guard. Right, I thought this would be like a collaborative effort, everyone get together and fight the SEC, but that doesn't seem like it's the case. So is this really going to help Ripple? I don't know. It seems like it should, because based on this, what did I say? Like what Bill Hinman said? Just because you had an ICO, you had a security sale, does not automatically make you a security. So yes, Ripple did have ICO, sold a bunch of XRP, right? Maybe they get fined for that, okay? But that does not automatically make XRP a security. That's number one. Number two, just because it's sold in the secondary market on exchanges does not make it a security. Also said that, right? So these are things that helps Ripple a lot, or helps XRP a lot, right? So we'll see. Brad Garlinghouse, very excited about this. And he thinks that the SEC may be bluffing about crypto enforcement. I don't know at this point if they're really bluffing, right? Because obviously the SEC is suing everyone left and right? So I don't know if they're really bluffing. They might just be very desperate, but not bluffing at this point, right? But yeah, we will see. Brad is still very hopeful that a resolution will be coming soon. Does that mean later this week or next week or end of June? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Overall, I think this is pretty positive. Not only for XRP, but really positive for all projects out there, right? A lot of projects are very fearful of the SEC, very fearful about how to defend themselves, right? And the Hinman speech basically gives them ammunition, a way to defend themselves. So that's awesome. That's awesome, right? But kind of surprised that XRP is not pumping up after this. Now, speaking of SEC, other news. Their request to freeze Binance.us accounts, assets, right? The judge is like, no. SEC, you go play nice with Binance lawyers, try to figure something out. I'm not just go freeze their accounts just because you want me to. So that is good. So hopefully they can find a resolution, because there's some scare right now that Binance US may have its asset frozen, then basically it dies, right? So at least there's a judge that says, no, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, the news doesn't just stop there. The SEC also right now is trying to alter this definition of what is an exchange, okay? So the SEC, Gary's been doing a lot of naughty stuff behind the scenes, because now what they want to do is regulate DEXs, okay? Not only centralized exchanges, but DEXs. But DEXs doesn't fit the definition right now of an exchange. So House Republicans are pushing back, saying this is no. This is no, you're not. You're basically overstepping, okay? But yeah, what the SEC is trying to do is change the definition so that they could also regulate DeFi, such as Uniswap or PancakeSwap or SushiSwap or any of the swaps out there. And how are they trying to do that? Well, there's certain little things that they're trying to change. So, for example, right now, when it comes to exchanges, there are orders, okay? But they're going to try to change that to trading interests. Also, there's this definition of multiple buyers and sellers, and they're trying to just change the multiple out, okay? And then also add something called communication protocols, which basically means network layers, L1s, L2s, right? Basically, there's some kind of transmission protocol. And basically, if you add all these three in, then that means a DEX also fits the definition, which then the SEC will use as ammunition to go after all the DEXs. Even though they're all governed by smart contracts and no one can really do anything about it, it's all governed by code, the SEC will go target them, right? So that's also happening behind the scenes right now. So as you can see, the SEC is trying to go after everyone. They want jurisdiction of everything. Centralized exchanges, DEXs, decentralized exchanges, and of course, if they could go after DEXs, they could go after DeFi projects as well, right? And going after every single L1, L2, declaring them securities, right? And scaring banks into removing fiat on-ramp, off-ramps. So basically, SEC and Gary wants to rule it all. Not only rule it all, but pretty much shut down all kinds of innovation. So that's why there are some in Congress, like Warren Davidson and Tom Emmer and others, that are trying to stop this from happening, because basically Gary's going to drive all companies away from the U.S. All innovation will stop and cease and just get removed, right? So no one wants to see that happen. So I'm hoping that this Hinman speech, okay, will be a positive effect. And I'm hoping that Ripple does win. I am hoping Ripple does win. Many people have commented, why are you so bullish on XRP now? You've always been bearish on XRP. I'm bullish because I want Ripple to win. It's going to be good for the entire industry. They're spending a whole lot of money to not only defend themselves, but really at this point, they're defending the whole crypto industry. And I think we can all agree we want to see them win. It's go better everyone, right? So we're waiting for that to happen. That's pretty much it. Now, as for other news, what about Bitcoin? Well, someone like Michael Saylor, who's a big Bitcoin maxi, says that regulatory clarity will 10x Bitcoin, right? There are a lot of maxis that actually is cheering on what Gary's doing because they think everything else competes with Bitcoin. And that's silly. Everything else does not compete with Bitcoin. Nothing competes with Bitcoin. That's what people need to understand. Bitcoin doesn't compete with anything else. It's by itself, okay? And here's the funny thing. Even, let's say Gary's successful. Even say every single crypto project is removed from the U.S. Everything is removed, right? Do you think with Bitcoin left standing, Gary is just going to stop right there? Gary's going to say, okay, I'm going to leave Bitcoin alone. My job is done. No, he's not going to be doing that. He's going to be attacking, guess who? Bitcoin miners, Lightning providers, Lightning nodes, also wallet makers, already attacking the exchanges. So I think Bitcoin maxis need to realize that the SEC is attacking everything. It's already having effect on Bitcoin. But let's say everything else does get removed, right? It's not going to stop there. It's not going to stop there. There's already talks about looking at Lightning networks as whether or not like those nodes are money transmission services, right? And they have to register. And then also wallet makers, they have to do KYC. I mean, there's a lot of talks about stuff like that already from guess you know who, from the SEC, right? So we don't want those things to happen. But ultimately, people need to realize Bitcoin is not like Ethereum. Bitcoin is not like BNB. Bitcoin is not like Polygon. It's very different, right? But Michael Saylor still thinks that we need more regulatory clarity. And I don't disagree, but we don't need to ban. We don't need to ban everything, okay? We need to still innovate and move forward, and regulatory clarity will help. Will help overall, everyone. But as for Bitcoin's on-chain metrics, very healthy shape. What does that mean? Well, here's one definition of on-chain metrics that looks healthy, part of the growing fundamentals, and that is Bitcoin reserves on exchanges continues to dip, and dip more. Okay, pretty soon it's going to dip so much, there's not going to be any left on the exchanges. And it's funny, the peak number of Bitcoins on exchanges right around January 2020. And since then, it's been going down and down and down and down and down. And down some more. And while we're waiting for next halving event and next blow off top, we're waiting for this. Hitting the 61.8 Fibonacci level. We saw it back in 2018 going up to about 13,000, 14,000, right? Are we going to see that pretty soon? Bring Bitcoin up to, I should say, 48,000, 50,000 before we start rallying, before we hit that halving event. I'm looking forward to it. History doesn't always repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And you know what's been helping? Well, at least, I don't know if it's been helping, but at least the U.S. market has been helped by CPI this morning in the U.S., right? You can see overall U.S. had a pretty good day. We had a CPI reading that showed inflation gone down, lowest in 2 years. That's pretty good. Tomorrow, we'll have another catalyst. We're going to have an FOMC meeting. And right now, 93% chance that there will be a pause, no more rate hike. And maybe it's the final rate hike we'll ever see, and we may not see another one until we start pivoting and getting cuts instead. So we have that to look forward to. And I'll be streaming that tomorrow too. Outside of that, the only other thing that's a little bit nasty is Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says expect a slow decline in U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. So, you know, someone like Janet Yellen, who's the Treasury Secretary, should be saying, well, there's no worries about the U.S. dollar ever not becoming the reserve currency or not being the reserve currency, right? But she kind of concluded that, yeah, it's starting to happen. It's a slow decline, but it's starting to happen, right? Especially with the countries within BRICS and others that have started to get off the U.S. currency, right? So it's starting to happen. So even Janet Yellen says that. Eventually, all fiat currencies fall. One way or another, they fall. Usually due to overprinting, usually due to just uncontrollable debt, right? The combination of the two, high inflation, basically leads to a collapse, right? So can't trust it fully. I know we're all dependent on fiat and cash, right? Can't trust it fully, but that's why we also have Bitcoin. We have the greatest store of value, the hardest asset, the one thing that we control as a people and not controlled by governments or central banks, right? So there's that. All right, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I know a lot of you guys I've been talking about this for the last few days. I'm going to continue to say it for this entire week. But don't miss the VIP party in Vegas. I know a lot of you guys want to get away, right? You hate your day job. You hate your life. You hate your wife. You want to get away. Well, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm joking about all those things. But if you want to get away, you want to meet me, you want to have a good time, not only with me and talk to others and network and have a grand old time, then join me July 29th in Las Vegas on the rooftop of Mandalay Bay. And it's going to be a good event. It's going to be a good event. So if you guys want to check it out, I pinned it and also in the description of this video. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Jimmy Fingers, there will definitely be booze. Can't comment on the strippers part. All right. Let's see. I'm scrolling down, making sure I didn't miss anything. All right, still scrolling. People asking about Do Kwon. No idea why people are wondering about Do Kwon. Let's see. Scrolling. If this pause happens, I do see a small rally, Mike. You're referring to the FOMC meeting. It's guaranteed, basically. There's no chance that the Fed does not pause. I mean, especially with inflation numbers being really good today. There's no chance. Let's go Nuggets. There's some crazy stats about Jokic and how good he played in the finals. Like, he shattered every single record there is. And it's funny, during interviews, he's like talking about he has to go like take care of his horses and stuff like that. Like it was a chore to be in the finals and he just wanted to get over with so he could go back to his normal life. He doesn't talk like any other superstar, saying like, you know, I work out every day and I've been training this for my whole life to get this. Like, he talks like it's nothing. Kind of funny. Is the July event 21 and older? Yes. If you're under 21, no. No. DJ, what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas? You know, you live your life however you want. How can Hinman or anyone at SEC call the speech Hinman's personal opinion when it consistently uses the word we and not I, and who is we? Well, that's true. I mean, Hinman did say this is my personal opinion, right? But definitely, I mean, I think it's, even though the SEC itself had hesitations, I just showed a clip. Jay Clayton, who was the head, the SEC chair, said, yeah, anyone that wants to know about securities, go look up the Hinman speech on our website. Basically he concluded that is the law of the SEC. So I don't know how you counteract that. He agreed with it. Do I like XLM? I'm neutral. There's nothing going on with XLM these days. Poker game? I don't think so. There's not enough time. Even though there's a 4-hour party, and those of you guys that are VIPs will get an extra hour. And I may get Tom Dwan there. You know, he's one of the biggest poker players, and his best friend, or not best friend, one of his friends, Oliver, is also a good poker player. But I don't think we have time for that. But who knows? While you're there, you can still play poker. Patrick says, I could only go once a year. You know, this is a Saturday. You could just go for a day and then leave, right? Or go for 2 days. This is Saturday, leave on Sunday. Easy picking. You don't have to take a whole week off. It's not in the middle of the week. I chose Saturday on purpose. You could just go out and, you know, fly out Friday or even fly out Saturday morning. This is at night. It's only a matter of time before SEC completes the circle and goes after self-custody. That's been talked about already. They were talking about going after miners and going after wallets and going after custody services. I mean, everyone. I mean, basically, if you don't check the SEC, here's what people, I don't think they understand. If you don't check them, they're just going to keep going and keep reaching and keep pushing, right? So I know there are a lot of like Bitcoin guys that's like, yeah, you know, just kill everything. It's not going to stop there. SEC will be attacking projects that are related to Bitcoin, right? So we got to stop the SEC. Congress people want to do it. Ripple wants to do it, right? We should encourage them and just eliminate Gary's position. Get Gary out of office. We need to get someone that is fair, that will regulate properly, and won't try to shut down every single innovation that the U.S. has. I am accumulating ADA. What's your position? There's nothing wrong with that. Cardano or Cardanzo, however you want to say it. You know, still in a good spot, led by Charles. Still trying to figure out how to scale. They just opened up one of their Hydra heads, and there'll be more. DeFi is growing. Some meme coins like Snek is bringing some excitement, right? So, nothing wrong with Cardanzo. Jimmy, no. You could pick up strippers in your own car in Vegas. You go rent one. Pretty cheap. Evan, you're not going to trick me into saying something about that. There are two things you should never discuss in open public. One is about religion, and another is about politics. Unless you're ready to fight. Here's the funny thing. You know, days before I came out with the new NFTs and the website and stuff, right, I did a lot of polls. Did a poll with you guys, live chat, did one on Twitter, did a couple polls. Like, how many of you guys will join me at this VIP party, right? And like, you know, out of 600 or 800, 25% said, yes, for sure, I'm welcome. Now that I got everything out, it's like, where's all those signups? I know it's a lot. It's a big commitment, though. I know it's a big commitment to fly to Vegas. Not only you got to pay for airfare, but also hotel, right? It's a big commitment. But I'll tell you this: those of you guys that join, you're not gonna be disappointed. I throw wild parties, really good parties, a lot of drinking, a lot of networking, some food, but overall, everyone's gonna have a good time. Also, the next crypto gem may debut at this party. I'm still trying to confirm, trying to get all the judges there. So if you want to meet like Brian or Leia, I didn't invite her yet, but I'm pretty sure she'll come. Myself and others will be there. And I am inviting a lot of projects here too. There will be a lot of projects for sure. Testers P2P or F2P. I appreciate that. Will Michael Saylor be there? Probably not. He only attends like Miami events. Well, the second event after this is close to Miami, Cypherpunk, right? It's a smaller conference, but larger than the Vegas party. But I'll be concentrating on this afterwards. This will be September Fort Lauderdale. So it'll be very close to Miami. It's weird that the Bitcoin conference, Bitcoin 2024, which they already started advertising for next year, they moved away from Miami. Now they're in Nashville, of all places, which is kind of weird. DZO. I'll be there 24. 23 is still a bad year. All right. Well, 2024 is when I'm going to have WAG. All right. It's going to be in Chicago. I don't know the exact day or venue yet. Still trying to figure that out. But this will be my very first full conference, right? Trying to get some experience with both of these first, then leading up to this. And hopefully, yeah, around that time, the market is better, then a lot more of you guys will be encouraged to attend. One of the things I want to do with my conferences is make sure that majority of people can attend and afford it. You know, Bitcoin 2023, it started out at $500 a ticket. Then eventually at the time, it was $1,000 a ticket. Consensus is like $1,700 a ticket. All these events are like very, very expensive. So they're made for only insiders. They're not made for regular people, okay? Because in addition to travel and all that expenses, now you got to pay $1,000 or $2,000 for a ticket. Forget that, right? So my conference could be affordable for everyone, even people off the streets if they want to learn about Bitcoin. So it's going to be for everyone and also for insiders. So that's going to be the difference with my conference versus everyone else. Everyone else is trying to make money with their conference. Consensus and Bitcoin 2024 or 2023 from BTC Magazine, from BTC Media, they throw conferences to make money. I do not. I'm going to throw conferences. I don't want to lose money. I want to try to break even, but I'm not trying to make money off of these. So that's going to be the difference between my conferences and everyone else's. So that's why I want to do it for you guys. I'm still trying to get discounted rooms. Mandalay Bay is tricky to reserve rooms or block rooms off because there's a fight going on around there. So I'm trying to find some nearby hotels to get discounts, in case you guys are wondering. What would you do if I meet Gary Gensler? I don't know. Ask him some tough questions, I guess. Ask him some tough questions and why he does like silly stuff. You know what? No, I would say this. This would be my first question to him. Why was it before you became SEC chair, you thought projects like Ethereum and Algorand were non-securities, awesome projects, and then afterwards you wanted to declare them securities? I think that would be my very first question. Like, what changed exactly? Right? And it wasn't that long ago. It's not like 20 years ago. This is only like 3 years ago. Right? All right, I'll let you guys go. Overall, Hinman Docs came out, basically said Ethereum is not a security. Also said that it said a lot of stuff, but basically, if you guys want to look more into it, you can. So does this help XRP? Does it help Ripple? I think so. I think it does. But now there's some kind of like, some people are bashing Ethereum or bashing Vitalik, right? No, the whole industry should get together and fight the SEC together. That's what we want. We want to stop the SEC from attacking everything. And DeFi will be next. And then after that, probably wallets. And after that, who knows, right? We want to stop them in their tracks right now. But tomorrow we'll have the FOMC meeting. So we'll see what happens then. All right? Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And again, if you want to attend, click on the link. All right? Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.